So this is one example, I've talked about it before. So create curiosity. It's actually a lot harder than you think. Problem. A little closer. It's a lot harder than you think, right? I didn't say like, so you put curiosity there, and then you could put this and that, and ask a question. That's boring. And so when you raise the issue or the problem behind everything, and then you offer a solution, it also helps create this roller coaster ride and helps keep people engaged. So one way of creating curiosity is taking two things that are seemingly unrelated, putting them together, and having people wonder what the relationship is between them. And if any one of you has read Freakonomics, you have?
I've been meaning to for a long time.
Okay, I could lend it to you.
You can?
When my brother finishes reading it. and so for example, all the titles in Freakonomics is what does a
It's a comic.
what does a
no,
it's a book about economics, but presented to the general audience. It's extremely humorous. It's extremely mind-opening and eye-opening. So it's definitely a recommended read. Yeah. And I don't get commissions. So I don't get so his titles are like, what does a school teacher and a sumo wrestler have in common? Okay. What does abortion and crime have in common? Etc. So it makes you wonder, and now you want to read the book to find out what they have in common. And they do have something extremely powerful in common. Which brings me to the point, don't make a claim and don't meet it. So if I'm claiming that mass media and Prozac have something in common, I better deliver. Okay? Or else, on your next post or your next communication, people will not believe you. Okay, so there's the history of everything that you do, not just that one post or that one article. If you read this and then you get to a point and then you don't see any relationship between mass media and Prozac, and tomorrow I post what do babies and sumo wrestlers have in common, and then you read and you don't find a convincing relationship. The next day you read the title, you're like, yes, interesting, but I'm sure he doesn't know what they have in common. And you stop reading. Another way of creating curiosity is, what is it? Okay. How to sit with your thoughts. Only there are, I think, 2 or 3 one of these things that you could use. I name them things, them old tricks. بس بعدين هلا رح لكم ما تستعملوا things و stuff هيدا when you're writing. I'll tell you why later. Curiosity. How to sit with your thoughts with these 3 phases. Okay? Did this trigger your curiosity? Okay? So, one of the things that trigger, that people notice immediately are numbers, much faster than words. So when you put a number in the title, it's much more likely that people will stop to it than if it was surrounded by titles without numbers. Okay? Of course, it's the number 3, which also triggers people more than the number 4 or the number 2. So
why? How about number?
that's, I don't know why. I can't claim that I know why. But what I know is that, I mean, you know all of these websites where they put like 99.99% and all this. So hey, how are you?
Good.
Good.
Hey.
So the 9 is not actually the optimum number for people to buy. It's the 7. So a number that is an object that is priced at $97 sells more than an object that is priced at $99. Okay? The reason why they use the 99 because the difference does not outweigh the $3 difference in price. So it sells a percentage more, but when you multiply it by $3, the 99 makes more money. Okay? Because it doesn't sell like 50% more, it sells 2% more, 3% more. So basically it's the 7 sells the most, and then the 9, and then the 5, and then the 0. And then the last, they almost come very close. So, in terms of numbers, anyway, so 3 creates curiosity, not so the 3 makes your eyes stop and read, basically. These creates curiosity, because you want to know what these are. Okay? But that could actually drive people away if it's too general. Okay? If I were to say, sit with your thoughts and discover these. Okay? That's very general. And you could think of a zillion these. Okay? You could say that these are my problems, these are the conversation that I had with Aida, these are the party last night and all this. And it doesn't create curiosity as much as being more specific, but not too specific. Okay, so you know that these are phases, but you can't come up with a lot of examples for what the phases could be. Do you get the difference between using these on something too general and being more specific with it? So make sure that what these represents in the minds of users is something that they cannot come up with a lot of answers to, or else the curiosity doesn't work. Because, of course, there is the ego issue, and if you can come up with 10 examples or 10 answers for these, you would assume that at least you've gotten 1 or 2 of them right. And why would you read if you've already gotten 2 of the 3 right, and you know 10 of them? Right? Another thing that triggers curiosity is how. So, when you put the title in the form of a question, it works more than if it's the same assuming everything is similar. Questions won't work better than having non-questions. Because of the curiosity factor, because they trigger they engage the reader to start figuring out what the question is. Okay? Compare this to, I discovered 3 phases when I sit with my thoughts. Okay? So, questions. And so, how, why, what, when you start with these, it actually engages the audience a lot. Of course, if you can deliver on what you're asking. And so, you can see a lot of websites, for example, all their titles start with how to. There's a book called How To, or How Things Work, or, right? Because it works. What else?
There's a website,
Exactly.
How stuff works, though.
Exactly. Okay. So this is with the titles. One way, for example, this is. I'll just go over it quickly. It's one way to create a roller coaster ride in the title. Is within the title to create problem and then solution and then deliver the solution. The simplest way you could do this is to say, who likes to do yoga but is worried of injury? No, that's not a title.
Worried of injury.
Okay, so what if I said injury-free yoga? That's not a question. It doesn't have these. It doesn't have a number. It doesn't have how or what. But what it does have is it has a problem, a solution, and an audience. Because it's yoga. Okay? So problem-free yoga, you get what the problem is, you get what the solution is, and you get who I'm talking to. And it's 2 words, or a composite word, and a word. Okay? But, let me try this. I love you, but I can't live with you.
Your point is?
Do you believe that I love you?
No.
Exactly. Not because, I do love you. Not because we're not that close. It's because the but cancels what comes before it.
It's like, I'm sorry, but...
Exactly. I love you, but. Like, didn't you say you love me? Yeah, but. Okay? And so, a lot of us know this. But, so we know it, but we don't know it. So this is the right place, because a lot of us know this, but we don't know it. Right? So a lot of us know this, but we don't use it. Or we use it in a way that is counterproductive to our message. Take this, for example. This is an actual email that we sent to some people who requested tickets after the third salon sold out. we'd love to have you in the third saloon, but we don't have any seats left at all. How would you love to have me, but you just cancelled? So you love to have me, but you wouldn't love to have me. Right? You'd wish I didn't come. That's what you feel when you read it. Okay? The second part actually works. We don't, if you forget the first part, we don't have any seats left at all, but what I can propose, so you cancelled the negative part, you cancelled that you don't have any seats, and now the audience, or whoever's reading, the reader, lightens up because there's a solution, and this creates a roller coaster effect. So you put a problem there, you cancel it, you present the solution. That's not the original format of the email. That was it. Would love to have you in the third saloon. The problem is, it still creates the roller coaster ride without telling the user or the reader that we don't love him. Because there's the word, the problem. And if you just say problem, that creates a problem. We'd love to have you in the third saloon. The problem is that we don't have any seats left at all. But what I can propose, okay, is blah blah blah. I'm sorry that you'll need to wait until ticket holders are seated, which is a bad thing. Thanks. Which is a bad thing, but you might even be lucky and find a seat in case a few ticket holders don't show up. Okay? So that's the power of but. It's a double-edged sword, because when you place a negative thing before it, you could cancel it out and continue. When you place a positive thing before it, then unless you really want to cancel that positive thing, don't use but. Put a full stop, start a new sentence. Say yet or although. However. Okay? So maybe one thing that we could say, although we don't have any seat left, we can propose that you blah blah. Okay, so that's a way of using it without a full stop. Okay. What else do we have? So basically, only I wanted to come back to a few things, but I've covered them before. So it's not a problem. Because. Do you know that because, the word because is extremely powerful. Not the reason, the word. Okay? There was an experiment that was made. That's like a real scientific experiment. It's not they went to a university and there was a long line of people waiting to photocopy their notes. And they had, I think, three scenarios. The first scenario, the guy comes in and he's like, "Can I jump before you and photocopy this?" Okay? This had a 90% success rate. Okay? Sorry, 60%. The second scenario, the guy comes and he's like, sorry, can I jump in front of you and photocopy this because my teacher already gave me like 3 black demerits, and if I don't come in time, he will actually kick me out of class and I will fail the course. And that had a 97% success rate. Okay? The third scenario, a guy comes in and is like, sorry, can I photocopy this because... That had a 96% success rate. So there's only 1% difference if you put a valid reason or if you don't put a reason at all. Okay? And so it doesn't matter what you place after the because. Just whenever you're trying to convince someone, just say because. Do you know why this works?
Yeah, because you give him the impression that you have the cause. Mystery.
No, it actually has to go back to when you were young.
Why? Because.
Yeah,
Not just
we
because.
always do it. And so we are inbred to believe and to be convinced that because is a reason by itself. We've had an exercise, Sharif and I, and we tried it a lot of scenarios, and it was the most laugh I've ever had. He actually fell on the ground or something. He couldn't get up. Okay, so تعال دروس ما بدي ليه؟
لأنه
لأنه